Today I am going to solve question number 6 of exam style questions of chapter number 7 of your book. In this question it is written that the following algorithm shown as a flow chart checks the size of a consignment of 10 parcels. The dimensions of each parcel are input in centimeters. So this is an algo which is meant to start three variables in the beginning. First one is counter. First one is counter. Second one is accept, and third one is reject. Now this algorithm is taking inputs of two variables. One is length and one is breadth. It is checking the lengths and breadths of parcels. If the length is greater than 30, then it should be rejected. And if the breadth is greater than 30, then it should also be rejected. So a maximum size of 30 by 30 is allowed of a parcel. Now uh, calculate the size of the parcel. Length and breadth will be multiplied. If the overall size will also be greater than 600, then also the parcel will be rejected, because all three decisions are taking it to rejection. So this is basically being done by this software. That this software is checking the dimensions of parcels, and there are 10 parcels. So the counter is 10. When the counter reaches 10, then the uh, when the counter reaches 10, the accepted number parcels and the rejected parcels. The number of accepted parcels and the number of rejected parcels should be displayed, because all rejected parcels are being added to this variable named reject, and all the accepted parcels are being added to this variable accept. And there is a separate counter that is counting the number of parcels that is being checked, and overall 10 parcels are being checked. Now let's move on to the first question. In the first question, you have been given the lengths and breadths of all 10 parcels, and you are supposed to make a trace table. So let's move on to the trace table of this flow chart. As you know that the counter is the starting value of counter was 0, as you can see it over here. Then that the starting values of counter, accept and reject were 0. Now the user has given first two values, one for length and one for breadth. So 15 and 10 were the first two values. So these will be written first. As you can see, this is 15, this is 10. And as you know that 15 and 10 individually both are lesser than 30, they will be accepted. And when 15 will be multiplied by 10, 150 is also less than 600. So this will also be accepted, and the value of accept will increment from 0 to 1, and the value of counter will also become 1. Then the other two values of user are 20 and 17. As you can see it over here, the next two values given by the user are 20 and 17, one of length and now 20 and 17 will be written over here. 20 is also lesser than 30. Individually, 20 is also lesser than 30, and 17 is also lesser than 30. And when you multiply 20 and 17, 340 is also lesser than 600. So this second parcel will also be accepted. The value of counter will become 2, and the value of accept will become 2. Then comes the third parcel with values 32 and 10. As you can see it over here, the length and breadth of third parcel are 32 and 10. So 32 is, as you can see, 32 is now greater than uh, 32 is now greater than 30. So there is no need to even multiply anything. It will be rejected and the value of reject will become increment from 0 to 1, and the value of counter will raise to 3. Now next come next two values. These are 30 and 35. As you can see that 30 and 30 is should also be rejected, and 35 is greater than 30 because you were checking through the flow chart. The value should, if the value is greater than 30, it means a value equal to 30 will be accepted. The first one is accepted, but 35 is rejected by the algorithm. So the value of rejection will increment from 1 to 2, and the value of counter will become 4. Next comes the next two values, which are 30 and 15. And as you can see that 30 will be accepted, 15 will be accepted, but when both will and when both will be multiplied, the value of 450 is also lesser than 600. So a value of the value of accept will raise from 2 to 3, and the value of counter will become 5. Now let's consider the next two values, 30 and 28. As you can see that 30 is also with equal to 30, and 30 and 28, as you can see 30 is also equal to 30, 28 is lesser than 30. When we multiply both values, 840 becomes greater than 600, which should be rejected. The value of reject will increment from 2 to 3, and the value of counter will become 6. Now next comes the next two values. Now let's consider the next two values, 25 and 25. As you can see, 25 should be accepted and 25 should be also be accepted. Both values are lesser than 30 individually, but when we multiply 25 and 25, 625 is greater than 600, which should be rejected, and the value of reject should increment from 3 to 4, and the value of counter will become 7. Now let's consider the next two values, 20 and 15. As you can see it over here that 20 is also lesser than 30, 15 is also lesser than 30, but when you when you multiply 20 and 15, the value of 300 is also lesser than 600. It means it should be accepted, and the value of the value in the variable accept named accept should also increase to 4, and the value of counter will become 8. Now let's consider the ninth values, 40 and the values at number 9, 40 and 20. As you can see it over here, 40 should and it should be rejected because it is greater than 30, and 20 should be accepted because it is lesser than 30. So there is no need to multiply both of them because 40 is rejected over here. So the value of reject will increase to 5, and the value of counter will become 9. Now let's move on to the last two values, 12 and 10. As you can see it over here that 12 and 10 are individually lesser than 30, and when we multiply them together, 120 is also lesser than 600. So this should be accepted. The value of accept should raise to 5, and the value of counter now becomes 10. When the value of counter becomes 10, the software will output the values of accept. The number of parcels that are accepted by the software are 5, and the number of parcels that are rejected by the software are also 5. So out of 10, 5 are accepted and 5 are rejected. Now let's move on to part B. State the process included in this algorithm. You have to explain this algorithm, what this algorithm is doing. It is taking it is taking the length and breadth from the user. The software is checking if the values of length and breadth are less than or equal to 30 for each parcel. Then it will calculate and check the size also, if the size will be lesser than or equal to 600 each parcel. If increment the number of parcels accepted or the number of parcels rejected, and output the number of parcels accepted and the number of parcels rejected. Now comes the last question. Identify the rules required to accept a parcel. So the rules to accept the parcels are these: that the first rule is this, that the length should be less than or equal to 30. The breadth should also be less than or equal to 30, and the multiplication of length and breadth should also be less than or equal to 600 centimeters square. This was question number 6. Please like this video if you understood the concept well, and leave a comment also. Thank you.